All right, welcome to this Friday special edition of Hannity. Well, it looks like tonight, breaking news, RFK Jr., after being treated like garbage by the entire Democratic Party and the media mob, is now planning to announce, according to reports, a third-party run for the presidency. So what impact will that have on the race? That's anybody's guess. As of now, we'll have details coming up straight ahead. Also tonight, well, we are at the end of what is another disastrous week for your President Joe Biden. Look at this. The vast majority of Americans believe Joe is mentally, physically incapable of being president. He could barely walk down the baby steps of Air Force One, even with new special shoes, since they started Operation Keep Joe from Falling. His own staff working overtime to keep that from ever happening again. And guess what? So far, got off to a pretty bad start. He looks terrible. And by the way, he's now literally drawing comparisons to the Crypt Keeper. I mean, he just looks awful. He's now losing to Donald Trump by a whopping 10 points in that poll conducted by the ABC and the Washington Post. Nearly 2/3 of Democrats, they want someone else to run, according to NBC News in their latest poll. According to Politico, quote, some Democrats, they are terrified about Biden's chances for winning another White House term. He's now also facing a very serious impeachment inquiry that got started yesterday, with now a mountain of evidence pointing to bribery, corruption, money laundering, and worst of all, Biden's policies have been awful. The impact on millions of Americans, they are now suffering as a result of Bidenomics. Many Democrats saying, you might want to stop using that term. By the way, it's been a disaster. His economic policies, his energy policies, Biden inflation back on the rise. Interest rates, they're about to rise again also. American savings wiped out. Interest rates at a 2-decade high and about to go even higher. Credit card debt, the highest ever. Gas prices nearly double what they were under Donald Trump, yet again now climbing up to the $4 a gallon mark. And now predictions that a barrel of oil will soon be $150 a barrel and going higher. Bankruptcies never been higher. And look at the border. Would a competent leader ever allow this to happen for 3 straight years? By the end of this 3-year period, we'll probably have a whopping 8 million illegal immigrants that Joe has aided and abetted into this country against our nation's laws. But don't worry, listen to Karine Jean-Pierre just flat out lying again like they've been lying. The border's closed, the border's secure. Here's the latest lie.
The president has done more to secure the border and to deal with this issue of immigration than anybody else. He really has.
No, he really hasn't. There's nobody been worse on the border than Joe Biden. Record-breaking illegal immigration, record amounts of drug trafficking, opioids, fentanyl, a record number of deaths from fentanyl and other dangerous drugs. Cartels, well, guess what? They're charging entry into the U.S. They're making billions of dollars. Also, billions of U.S. tax dollars spent to provide all the food, the housing, the health care, the education, and legal expenses for, what will be 8 million people, it looks like, by the end of the year, all of Joe's illegal immigrants. I wonder, because we're not vetting them, how many terrorists might have gotten across that border? How many terror cells may now exist because Joe Biden has not vetted the people that he's allowed in. He's not followed the law. And this week, the president, he was in Arizona, but never bothered to visit the border. It is a border state. Instead, he gives a speech near Phoenix dedicated to his hatred of Republicans, or MAGA Republicans. Take a look.
I insisted that they meet, and I take credit. Oh, I didn't see you all up there. Whoa! Don't jump, don't jump. From the speech I made at Gettysburg in the inaugural address to the anniversary of January 6th insurrection, to Independence Hall in Philadelphia, an idea that we are all created equal, endowed by the image of God, endowed by our Creator to be able to treat it equally throughout our lives. We've never fully lived up to that idea in Europe, the NATO meeting. I sat down, it was in January, after being elected, early February, and it was in England.
mumbling, stumbling, bumbling, incoherent. And what happened on, was it June 6th? Oh, January 6th. We get it, Joe. You hate half the country. And frankly, your policies are killing all the country. He probably didn't even remember Arizona is that border state, and the southern border is not safe enough for him to even visit. On the one side, it's controlled by dangerous Mexican cartels. On the other side, you have thousands of unvetted people from all over the world just pouring in, thanks to his invitation every day and his outright lying about it. Then, of course, there are a lot of, uneven surfaces at the border. Biden could actually trip and fall. Well, that would be risky for Operation Keep Joe from falling again, especially in his condition. And meanwhile, we did have tech mogul Elon Musk. All credit to him. He actually spent time to visit the border, to see for himself, to learn what's really going on. And keep in mind, Musk immigrated to the United States, is very pro-immigration, legal immigration. But he's now sounding the alarm about the record flow of illegal immigrants, warning that it will lead to a collapse of social services in this country. He's right, but it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure all of this out. But for some reason, the administration continues to just tell blatant lie after blatant lie about the border being secure. Nobody's crossing the border, blah, 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 as if we don't have the video and statistics to prove it. Your eyes are not lying to you. The hotels are packed full of illegal immigrants in New York City. And that sanctuary, state that they wanted to create, now they're saying, don't come here. We can't afford it. They expect to spend $12 billion in the next 18 months, $40,000 they say it costs for each illegal immigrant in New York City. And then you have Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez trashing Elon Musk and his visit, accusing a Republican congressman that joined Elon Musk of taking a joyride with the billionaire. Maybe she's mad because she's being criticized for owning a Tesla. It's not American made. It wasn't made by the UAW.